look up rather than down on our phones.
Today I'm talking to Dan Donoher, Animal Manager of the Wildlife Rehabilitation Ireland's brand new wildlife hospital. Dan is amongst a group of admirable people who this year started the first wildlife hospital in Ireland. The emergency facility is in Garlow Cross, County Meath, in an adapted barn and stables. As the hospital is a 24/7 operation and is only just up on its feet, it was hard for Dan to get a moment to talk on the podcast, but we are very grateful he did to spread this positive news. Thank you to everyone who donated items and money to get this wonderful project off the ground. Hi Dan, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. You're very, very welcome.
Hi Mary, thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. I know you've been very busy. So I think before we ask you anything about yourself, I think you really need to tell us what you've done this year, because it's huge and what you've started, and that's how I heard of you. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, so along with WRI Wildlife Rehabilitation Ireland and Emma Higgs and Aoife McPartland, we kind of came together to, there was last year with COVID, there was a huge amount of calls coming in to rehabilitators around the country and vets and other organisations about wildlife in trouble. And it was just all the rehabilitators, including myself, were just run off our feet, and we just couldn't fit the amount of animals that were coming in. It was huge. So I had done some work with Wildlife Rehabilitation Ireland and under courses and helped and worked with Emma for a number of years, and also with Aoife. And Emma just said, we need to do something about this. So she looked into trying to get an emergency site, and finally, after all that hard work, got a site up here at Garlow Cross in Navan. So we have the emergency interim hospital here at Garlow Cross. And we're working from behind a pub in a disused stable blocks. And we have a lovely ICU unit from a port cabin, and we have a paddock there, and we hope to have the permanent hospital here on site as well in the near future as well. And we really can't thank the McCarthy family who helped get us here and give us the site and helped us along to get where we are today, So we really are thankful to them. And also just blown away by the public and the community around Navan and Meath and further afield that just all seen what we were doing and wanted to help. The emails, the phone calls, the texts we were just blown away. We couldn't believe the amount, people donating new fridge freezers, new washing machines, coming and spending days fixing up stables, roofs, all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, it's been amazing. A whirlwind the last couple of months.
Amazing. So it's terrific, everybody that's helped. Well done. And it's Ireland's first wildlife hospital.
Yeah, so there's many rehabilitators around the country that have been doing work for years and years, but a lot of them just working from their own private houses and gardens and stuff, and they do fantastic work. And I'm friends with a lot of these people around the country. And this is kind of the first kind of dedicated teaching hospital as well. So that's so we are here obviously to rehabilitate animals, but also to teach rehabilitators, members of the public, vets, vet nurses. So that's kind of why we're the first to do that kind of on a large scale.
That sounds really, really valuable, so that other people can get involved and help. We had the Bat Rehabilitation Ireland on, and Susan, who is fantastic, who started her little bat hospital in her garden. And there's various other people around the country, so we give them the kudos that they deserve. But you've really, your group has pulled it together to get the wildlife hospital off the ground. So have you got anybody in ICU at the moment?
We've 130 animals here on site. Yeah.
So you've got a pine marten vet kit. I've been following you on Facebook. You've otters, you've a rabbit, you've little birds. Do you want to go through a few of them?
Yeah, so we've from tiny robins to blackbirds, pigeons, lots of raptors in at the moment. Three otters, cubs, the pine marten. We have 10 swans. We have 40 ducklings. We have a coot. We have a raven. We nearly have them all here. Which is gas. So it's keeping us all busy. So we have a team of interns who are here for 3 months, and they're again about teaching these people, all about wildlife rehabilitation, how to care for these animals, so they can go on and further in their career and hopefully help wildlife and wherever they might live around the country. And hopefully in years to come we'll be able to have more international ones. And then we have a team of daytime volunteers who might live local, and they come and help out and do a shift here as well as tradespeople and that, trying to build the hospital. So we're renovating where we are, and also hopefully build a hospital and do orphan season here as well. So there's lots going on.
My goodness, because the little ones, like for instance the little baby otters, they're going to need milk every few hours. I'm sure a lot of them need feeding every few hours.
Yeah, like baby birds, when they come in, some of them need feeding every 10 to 20 minutes.
Oh.
From 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. So that's a huge commitment, and really couldn't do what we do without the fantastic volunteers that we have.
Wow, a few. At least they go to bed at 10 p.m. That's a bit of a relief.
Yeah, and it's the mammals then that take over and want to be fed all night. Yeah.
Wow.
So the hospital is it's run 24/7. So as I said, I'm here living on site myself as the animal manager, and then I have a team of interns that live on site as well. So we all take shifts. So it's running 24/7. Somebody's up during the night taking care of them, feeds, admitting animals if they need to come in during the night, having things ready. So it's absolutely 24/7,
And would one person manage to cover all the feeds during a night, or do you need a couple of people?
At the moment, we're just on one. So that person starts at 10 o'clock and then finishes at 8. And then the other staff come on 7:45. So at the moment, one person is able to manage that. But we will have to increase that over the next couple of weeks as well.
Yeah, I can imagine. And those people obviously will have lovely things to write on their CVs as well at the end of the day. So that's something. What do you need now for the bits you're building? Do you need donations of anything, or do you want to give a shout out for anything you're looking for?
Yeah, we have a wish list on our website.
Okay.
And so there's lots of different things on that, from wood to, even screws and all sorts, as well as animal feed and stuff. So there is a big wish list on our website, WRI.ie.
So WRI.ie.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, I'll put it in the show notes as well, but everybody please go on there and see if you can donate or buy something further to get the hospital off the ground. So we'll just go into a little bit about you, Dan, because I know you're busy. You probably have to go back and feed all the hundreds of little birds and everything. But how did you get into this line of work?
Yeah, I suppose I wouldn't say by accident, but as growing up, my father was a keen nature lover, and I guess I get it from him. And my parents were always very encouraging me to do stuff outdoors, and I loved being outdoors. And where we lived, people would find like injured birds or injured animals, even dogs and cats, and they knew that our house was the one to go to. So we'd get a knock on the door and have a baby bird or whatever it would be, and we'd take care of it as best we could. And that's and I just grew up like that. And then I started volunteering when I was 17 with the Kildare Animal Foundation. Every weekend I would go there, and I just loved it. It's absolutely brilliant. And at that time I was working with dogs and cats, and then the odd time we would see, maybe the odd bird come in, the odd ferret or rabbit. So I was the go-to person then when these weird and wonderful animals would come in. And again, I'd take them home, and my parents would always look up at the ceiling, but they were always really supportive and encouraging to me, and that really, really did help. So then I did my leaving cert, all that. So worked in the Kildare Animal Foundation for the summer, and then I was never left, really. So I would then it was around 2009, 2010. Wildlife Rehabilitation Ireland were set up, and they invited me on the first ever, kind of professional wildlife rehabilitation course in Ireland. There was a group of, I think, 20 people were invited from all over, and a lovely lady named Lynn Miller came over from America, and she taught that. And that's where it all, the kind of wildlife rehabilitation stuff started, and on a professional scale there,
Fantastic. Do you remember any particular animal from your childhood that touched you or you became particularly friendly with?
I would say badgers were always the ones that kind of caught my eye, and always kind of, I felt some kind of attachment to them, and I got in touch with Badger Watch Ireland, and a lovely lady, Burren, there, and she again was always very encouraging to me. So I just think the badgers always were getting such a bad name, and everyone would say such horrible things about them, and I just seem to gravitate towards them all the time, and still do. They're one of my favourite animals, and I've seen lots of them over the years, and I really do enjoy looking after them.
Oh, they're so cute. They really are. We have some on the farm here as well, so we've caught a little bit of footage. One of our people living in the farmhouse here has a wildlife camera that's actually working, because my one wasn't working, but we've got pictures of the badgers, and they're just adorable.
Oh, they're amazing creatures. And see, we used to put the cameras on them when they're in rehabilitation, and just watching them play with each other and mess and all. They're just fantastic creatures.
They've had a very bad rap because of TB, but in the Burren area there's been I don't know what you call it, but they've done this particular way of lifting up the water troughs so that the badgers aren't drinking out of the water troughs, and it's reduced the spread of TB. So I don't know if that was badgers, small mammals, or why that helped, but it seemed to have.
Great, yeah, I hadn't heard of that. I guess TBs, all mammals can have it, from deers to rats, cats, all that. So it's unfortunate that the badgers are always to blame, but thankfully things are changing, and there's vaccinations and trials and stuff going on. So hopefully in the years to come, snaring will be made illegal, and the animals can get on with it.
Yeah, there's a trial in our area, which is nice. So I'd say the badger is your favourite animal.
I would say so.
Very good.
I shouldn't have a favourite.
Oh, well. So have you had any profound experiences in nature or with the animals that you'd like to share with us?
I guess it's like kind of anytime you would be having a hard time or quite stressful time, I would always go walking, where my grandparents live. It was always a lovely quiet spot, and by canal and bog and woodlands and stuff. So I'd always get up early when I was staying there and go for a nice walk with the dogs. And I could spend hours there just looking around, listening to nature. And I always felt really peaceful after that, and go back and be fine. But I guess lots of people turn to nature and when their times are hard, and I've always have done that too.
Lovely. So where did your grandparents live? It's somewhere around Navan or around County Meath? I'm
actually from Kildare.
From there.
Yeah. So just outside Munster Evan there, a lovely place called Umris. It's beautiful.
Beautiful. Very good. So one of the questions is what positive actions can we do to support nature? But if you want to just change that to support wildlife, had you had any thoughts about that question?
Yeah, there's lots of stuff I guess we can do, and where it really needs to start is at home. We can do lots of stuff in our own back gardens. It doesn't matter how big that garden is. There's stuff we can do for nature, and that from, leaving the grass and weeds to grow at the bottom of, or putting a small pond in, or even some kind of basin even with water will help. And just making a hole in a fence is also a really good thing to help the hedgehogs and other small mammals and insects and stuff as well. So there's lots really we can do that can help nature. People often think they have to do something really big and bold to do that, but it's just small little things that we can do, even from recycling. Yeah,
very good. And there's some things we shouldn't do as well. I know people tend to rescue baby birds that may not need rescuing. Do you want to talk a little bit about that and explain to people when you actually need to rescue an animal?
Yeah, so there's lots of kind of misinformation about baby birds and stuff. So fledgling birds this time of year are leaving the nest, and they can often land on the ground. They're only practicing how to fly or get used to their wings, so they're staying on the ground. Their parents are still feeding them, and they're just learning how to survive and live. And people often mistake them for injured birds, so they'll pick them up, bring them home, and then call somebody or even try and rehabilitate themselves, and that's the stress to that animal can kill them within hours. So the best thing to do really is, and we always advise this to our helpline, is to take a picture, take a video, monitor from a safe distance, send it into the helpline. We can have a look at that and know within a couple of minutes whether that animal needs to be rescued or not. But 9 times out of 10, it's just a fledgling, and it's fine if it's just left for another day or two. If you're really worried about the animal, unless it's on a road or something, I wouldn't touch it. But if it's in your garden, you're worried about cats, put it up somewhere high on a branch, or even having a flower pot on its side and hanging it from a washing line, and the bird can sit in that nice and safe. Cats can't get up near it, and then the parents will continue to feed it, and when that bird is a little bit stronger, then it will fly off.
Oh, that's a really good idea, and that's very clear for people what to do, so they can take a video and send it in to you. Because there's other animals as well, like little baby hares, leverets and things, that actually the mom might be coming back to feed, and they're not necessarily abandoned. And the seal pups, we were talking to Melanie Croce, the seal sanctuary, the seal pups are left on the beach, and people tend to think they've been abandoned, but actually their mother's just gone off shopping for food, fish or fishing.
And they come back and their babies are gone.
Babies have gone to the seal sanctuary.
Yeah.
So, well, that's very clear. It's a good idea about hanging up the flower pot as well. Very, very good.
We always would encourage people to ring. We prefer people to ring and ask for advice. And, even if it is okay, it's better to ring and look for that advice rather than just, because I remember growing up, even starting out when I set up even the wildlife unit when I was in Kildare, there was nobody picking up these animals. They were just passing, and they were just told by everyone, just leave them there. Nature will take over. But these animals are in trouble because of humans, and we need to step up and help these animals and get them back, And even, getting one red squirrel female back into the wild, she could go on to produce litters and help that species as well. So a lot of people often say you shouldn't focus on individual animals, it should be about species as a whole. But we kind of believe in the whole thing. If you help one individual, then that animal could go out there and help the species.
Absolutely. And then there's different amounts of care that the different animals need, obviously. I think the baby otters have to be cared for quite a long time. Is that correct? And then you can't obviously make them too friendly with humans, because humans are a danger to them. So there's a bit of a balance there between looking after them and not making them into a pet.
Exactly, yeah. The otters we could have up to a year, so that's a long rehabilitation process, expensive one too. But yeah, so we generally try to have animals that are getting intense hand rearing to maybe 1 or 2 cares, so that they don't imprint on everyone. Whereas if every few hours someone else was feeding, they would just get used to people that way. And a tame animal in the wild is a dead animal, but they're going to come up to someone, they're going to get killed or get hurt. So the temptation is there, and a lot of new volunteers would just want to cuddle them and talk to them, and it is, we all want to comfort these animals and help them, but sadly with wildlife it would be the wrong thing to do. So we generally hold them and comfort them for feeding, toileting and cleaning, but that is it. We don't talk around them, don't have phones, radios, etc. around. So it's feed them and put them back, and that might seem strange to people sometimes, but it is that's the right thing to do for that animal, because the ultimate goal is to get them back out into the wild to live their lives and breed.
That's the safest thing to do. I did hear that the otters really haven't got any common sense for about a year. They need their parents with them for a year because they make very bad decisions. So is that true?
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. And actually, otters are one of the easiest ones to tame as well. So we have to be really, really careful and put extra precautions in place to make sure that doesn't happen.
I did see once some other sanctuary, I think it might have been in America, but people were dressing up in sort of hazmat suits so that you couldn't see they were a human going into some of the otters to feed them so that they wouldn't become imprinted. But anyway, they're so cute. It's very hard not to cuddle those.
It is very hard.
Have you any nature books that you'd like to recommend for people?
I guess I was always into the practical stuff, all the identification guides and stuff, and different ones. And I'd always would have one little pocket-sized one, and like bringing it around with me when I was going. And I'd be out and I'd see a bird that I might not know, and I'd go home and read my book, and then I want to find everything about that bird or mammal or whatever it was. So, yeah. Keep reading, bring your identification books, and now you can even just have apps on your phone, which is really good, or if you listen to bird songs and stuff on it. So there's lots more available. I encourage people to, get out there and try and identify as many birds as possible, and just look up rather than down on our phones.
That's so true. Look up rather than down.
Yeah.
Do you have a particular app that you use or could recommend?
I don't actually, no.
Okay.
I now when I go on a walk, I just go on a walk and phone and leave it back. Because a lot of my work is on the phone, advising people or helping volunteers and stuff. So I try to take time out.
Yeah, so maybe a book in your pocket might be better. But,
exactly.
Yeah. So if you had a magic wand, what would you like to do for the planet?
That's a difficult question.
It really is. It's a tough one.
A lot that we like to do, but
you can do a few things, and you have power to do whatever you like. So go for it.
Great. Yeah, I guess we'd hope with renewable energy. I think that would be one thing. Just all of a sudden, try and get that all up and running and making the planet more greener. God, there's so much that we could do. As I said, starting from home, doing little bits at home, and starting there and then working out words, and help, volunteer with a wildlife rescue or volunteer with a tidy towns or, beach cleanup, river cleanups. Get involved in all those type of projects and just start off small, and, people together make a huge difference. So I would always encourage people just to get out there and get involved in the community.
So true. We'll put some of those links in the notes as well, the Tidy Towns, and I think there's Clean Coasts and different organisations. If anybody's listening, then please send us a message if you want any of your organisations listed as well. So are you on tonight now, or are you off tonight, Dan?
I've just finished the day shift, so I am on call though. Yeah.
So are you the one that carries the phone most of the time, taking queries?
Yeah, at the moment. So the people would text or whatever, looking for our helpliners if they needed any information, or they'd notify us here at the hospital if there was an animal coming in. So as I said, the interns, we're only here 2 months now, so not very long. So we're still training up volunteers and stuff as well. So we're getting there, and we've a fantastic team here. It's just like we're blown away by the support, to be honest, and the people, as well as the volunteers here. We have a wildlife response team, and they're a group of 60 people who've been trained to transport and rescue wildlife from all over the country. So we get a call into our helpline, we put it onto our WhatsApp group. There's a fox cub injured in Cork, can anyone help? And a volunteer there will pick it up. It might need to be vet assessed, then a relay will start to come up the country. And then that animal will be looked after here at the team and then brought back to where it goes. And often as well, we get a call in a county like Clare for Bev Trust, who's a good friend of mine and a good rehabilitator down there. She might take the animal in and get it stable, and then we would transfer it up here, or vice versa if we needed to get something down to her or to Susan, or there's many of them around the country that help, support as well. So we all club in and help each other out.
It's wonderful to know there's such a great system looking after the wildlife. It really is. And you obviously have a vet you can call on as well when you need. He might be quite busy, is he or she?
We have again another team of kind of vets that we work with, again around the country, or local ones as well, where we, if we got in an emergency case, they would come and help us with that animal. And we have vet nurses here who volunteer most days. We've one or two of them come as well. So it's just a joint. Everybody brings skills to the team. From carpentry to animal care to admin, fundraising, all that comes together to make this huge hospital.
Amazing teamwork, it really is. And you're so young. Can you tell us a little bit about what you did today, as just a snapshot of what you're doing? And I know it's the end of a long day. It's 7:30 in the evening now, so poor Dan. Let him go in a minute, but it's just so interesting, fascinating.
Yeah, so the day starts at 7:45. So I'd have a handover from the person who was on overnight and just tell us how the night went, what came in, what's improving, what's maybe needs extra care. Then we do a walk around, just see how the animals are all doing. We start then feeding all the baby birds again, cleaning the baby birds. So we always work from the sickest and the youngest. They're always looked after first, and then we work up to the ones that are outside pre-release as well. Then we have a team meeting at 10 o'clock and see how everybody's doing, what needs to be done for the day. And then everybody could go back to work and does. But we always plan our days out, but then we might get loads of animals in or something else might happen. So that's all our plans scattered for one day. But yeah, generally it's feeding, cleaning, medicating. As I said, we're trying to improve the stables here and the enclosures we have. We're building permanent enclosures as well. We've got a waterfowl enclosure, which is our first permanent one here, and that's just finished. That's huge. That's going to be absolutely huge for our swans and ducks and gulls. And then we have other enclosures to build. So each day there's so much going on here, so it's hard to put it all into one.
Yeah.
And then and as I said, people are here all the time from night to day. So it's great.
Did you have any admissions today? New admissions?
Yeah, it was quite a admission wise. We had a poor hedgehog come in that was attacked by a dog. That's lots of blood and stuff, but he's stable now and curled up after he got his meds and warmed up. We had a couple of baby birds come in. Sadly, they were caught by cats. And that's another huge thing that we see is cats catching these birds and other small mammals. And they're bringing them home that we don't know where they're coming from, and then they have to come to the hospital. And it's really important that these animals get antibiotics and help straight away, even if there's no obvious injuries on them. They just need to have a course of antibiotics. But sadly, in the last 2 weeks, I've just seen so many baby birds come in and dying within an hour or two of being admitted. And it's really disheartening to see, and the team as well, kind of, you do get upset, even though we don't try not to get attached to these animals, but it's when something can be preventable, so keeping our cats in, at night time or before, and letting them out during the day, or building a catio, having extra bells on your collar. There's lots that we can do as cat owners to help our wildlife, because they're already in enough trouble from habitat destruction and stuff on the roads, but our own pets now causing problems as well. We need to kind of be able to do something about that. So
yeah, well, that's a very good message. It's very, very upsetting to hear that. And I think the cat's saliva, I was looking on your Facebook page, it's poisonous to animals. So even if they have a tiny little bite, they need antibiotics.
That's it. Yeah, these animals are just so small.
Dan, thank you so much. We're going to let you finish your day now, having been on a 12-hour shift, practically starting at 8. Thank you so much. You've given us some great information, and we'll put everything in the show notes so people can contact you, help in any way they can, and know what to do without putting too much extra stress on your staff, you know, how to send a video and things like that. So thank you so much, and to all the team for what you've done. It really is marvellous. We'll support you in any way we can.
Take care. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for listening to Nature Magic, a positive voice for nature from Ireland. We're delighted to announce the Fairy Pig Walks are back up and running at the Burren Nature Sanctuary. This year, as the cafe is closed, we have added a picnic, which we deliver to the Gypsy Wagon shelter. Amelia, the Juliana pig, continues on her streak of 5-star reviews. These are her last 2 reviews. From Paulina and Frederico. Thanks so much for having us and showing us that there's still people who show compassion for animals. It was a magical moment. I loved every single part of the experience. My first time walking a pig is one of the happiest moments in my life. The picnic was wow. Thanks so much, Paulina and Frederico. And from Amelia with an A. Amelia provided us with such a great experience. Such a lovely informative tour about the area. Amelia is the sweetest little piggy. The picnic we were provided with was absolutely delicious, and to have it in such an amazing spot was such a treat. We will definitely be back. We will be recommending this experience to all our friends. Find the Fairy Pig Walk Picnic on Airbnb Experiences. Thank you.